Welcome to the National Pulse. I'm Raheem, editor-in-chief of thenationalpulse.com. The President of the United States visited Kenosha, Wisconsin yesterday in the wake of violent riots and a city left ravaged by Marxism. And as Democratic mayors and governors continue to reject assistance from a president who obviously wants to help bring this violence to an end. Meanwhile, Joe Biden, as the president now calls him, remains bunker-bound and without the ability to criticize the violent mob. Why? Because they're his base. I remember back in 2015 and 2016, I'm sure you will too, the national media made another disgrace of itself by insisting then-candidate Trump had to distance himself from the endorsements of people like David Duke, an irrelevant figure in the grand scheme of things, but the media knew it could set up a bogeyman, and they also claimed Trump wouldn't refuse the endorsement because Duke supporters, they said, were his base. Well, that was wrong, obviously. Trump did denounce Duke, the KKK, and other historically Democrat-affiliated people and organizations, and he won the election. In other words, it wasn't his base. The media lied, quelle surprise. But they won't ask or expect of Biden a similar denouncement of the violent Marxist rioters bringing American cities, businesses, and livelihoods to a screeching halt. Why? Because those people are Biden's base. And while Biden hides in his multi-million-dollar basement, he has surrogates on national news networks making the most disgusting and reprehensible accusations of the president. It's not only cowardly, it's unmanly. Take April Ryan, for instance, the porcine fraud of a reporter who went on CNN yesterday to allege that President Trump should be brought before the International Criminal Court. Why? It's not really clear. April Ryan isn't the smartest cookie. Let's roll the clip.
April Ryan, let me start with you. I want your reaction first to what we're seeing in Portland and what we heard from the mayor.
Anna, let's call a thing a thing. This president, Donald John Trump, has instigated a race war in America. Portland, Oregon is ground zero. This president, Donald John Trump, has basically stoked the flames for racist extremists, neo-Nazis, and the alt-right. And they're even defending, this president is even defending Kyle Rittenhouse, the 17-year-old who went in Wisconsin and killed two protesters. So at the end of the day, the mayor of Portland is absolutely right. And there are those who are calling for help from this president in the stoking of a race war. There is a race war in America right now because of this president. People are calling me asking if there indeed is a way to get the International Crimes Court to come in to deal with this. You know, I've talked to some people who are in intelligence, and they're saying he's done heinous things, but they have to see. We don't know for sure. But people are now afraid of this president because he has stoked the racial flames. And let's call the thing a thing. He has now begun a race war in America in 2020.
I'm flabbergasted. How stupid is that woman? She starts with, let's call a thing a thing. She's talking about the International Crimes Court. No, it's the International Criminal Court. She says she's spoken to some people in intelligence. It was good because she doesn't have any herself. And did you notice the other thing I did? That Middleburg, Virginia geolocation in the corner of her screen. Middleburg, Virginia, that's in Loudoun County. WTOP reported in 2017 that Loudoun County has the highest median household income in the United States. Median annual household income in Loudoun County is $115,574. That's the median. And the median home value? $710,645. The rest of Virginia sits at a more healthy $310,000, and the median home price across the nation is between $200,000 and $300,000. Nice house, April Ryan. And while I'm obviously no class warrior mad at somebody like April Ryan for making money, I am actually mad about the way she makes her money. She's a grifter, or to be more specific, a race grifter. April Ryan's job is to make other people's lives more difficult by doing precisely what she accuses the president of: fomenting unrest, creating a culture of hate and guilt and division, sowing discontent, and stabbing at the heart of American patriotism. April Ryan is a race grifter and a radicalizer. And what's all this about calling in a foreign court to haul your political opponents to jail? Doesn't sound very democratic, does it? Almost sounds authoritarian and fascistic. That's because it is. April Ryan is a race grifter, a radicalizer, and a fascist. And meanwhile, we're supposed to sit in those airport lounges with CNN on the screens and think that's all fine, that's a free speech, that's just what she's paid to say. By the way, turn those TVs off. When you go to those airport lounges, just go and turn the TVs off. It has real world implications for the rest of us. What she's out there saying, it was just days ago that ordinary people in DC were woken in the night by marchers screaming, if we don't get no justice, you don't get no sleep. It's just days ago that business owners in Kenosha or in Portland were left with nothing, sometimes for their whole life's work, because April Ryan wants to make her next mortgage payment on her expensive house. And who ultimately has to pay? You. But the financial burden of all of it shouldn't have to be carried by the American public. Not anymore. Not according to one congressman, Jim Banks. He's the representative for the 3rd Congressional District of Indiana. And Banks said it's about time rioters, the mob, were held accountable for their actions financially. I agree. The Support Peaceful Protest Act would hold rioters and looters accountable for the damage they cause by withholding government unemployment benefits. It's a great start. If you want to burn this country down, you don't get a check from this country. If you want to destroy public and private property, then the public won't bail you out. Congressman Jim Banks will join us on the show today to discuss his bill and his plan to hold these thugs accountable. And I'll ask him about April Ryan, the next steps for the president, and the Transition Integrity Project trying to bolster the left's claims to the Oval Office, no matter what the result. This is the National Pulse, and we'll be right back.